All right. So I was actually going through some interesting, slightly dated but interesting facts, and it says that in 2012, 50%, only 50% of India's schools had computers, and at that time, the number of schools that we had was 1.4 million. Even if we extrapolate the figure a little bit, I think there's a vast, vast market to cover to fully digitally enable India's education, be it primary, secondary, or higher. Um, 2012, the total market for communication technology was around 50 billion. This year, it is going to be 100 billion. So just imagine the magnitude and the vastness of the market which we are witnessing. Okay, a quick announcement before I call the next speaker, and it's a very useful announcement for all of you. Uh, IBM Research, there's a big institution called IBM Research, is organizing a digital learning workshop during 27th to 28th February, and this research lab is situated at Vasant Kunj. I will give you more details. The goal is to convene thought leaders in digital learning research, technology and business, and cover all areas of digital learning technologies, policy and practice. So we have here Dr. Anand Paul. You can all connect with him during the next break, which is the lunch break. So he will take you through more details. I will later on, at the end of this seminar, I will put it on the slides so that you can have the vital information about it. I think it is going to be very useful for all of you. Okay, so let's come back to our core. And I would like to now call upon our next speaker, who is going to speak about enabling collaborative education. It is a pleasure to invite Mr. Rahul Shah. Rahul is the principal consultant with an MNC called Avaya. So please welcome Rahul.
So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rahul Shah, and I take care of solutions part for Avaya. So over a period of 20 minutes or so, I'm going to talk about how Avaya can actually help deliver on making the education more collaborative and more engaging and more involving. So I'm going to talk about certain specific solutions which we feel are going to be very, very useful for making education a totally different experience. So what we have seen is that over the last few years, particularly in the education industry, there's a major paradigm shift that has happened. And that is something that, that I saw in the presentations earlier is also echoed by a lot of speakers and a lot of experts, that, we have moved away from, an instruction-led, a purely instruction-led approach to a more collaborative approach. So I happened to see this phrase used somewhere, I think it was Reema's presentation, which talks about the change in the approach from sage on the stage to guide on the side approach, wherein it is not just the one-way communication between the teachers and the students, but it is all about having and encouraging people and students to collaborate amongst peer groups and also with the faculty. Secondly, what we have also seen is that over the last few years, all this while we have had IT department of certain institutes taking the final call on what type of technology should be adopted. And most of the times faculty or the academics or the students didn't really have any say in what kind of technology should be incorporated or brought into the campus. So this is something which is changing with the next generation of students coming in who are used to understand things in their own unique way, apply concepts as per their understanding, and they would expect something which is kind of tailor-made for them. And one size fits all kind of an approach doesn't really fit here and doesn't really work here. So it is the next generation of students who are kind of redefining, how technology should be adopted in the education vertical. So I'm going to touch upon these two, in the coming slides. So obviously, with these growing demands and this, ever-generating new demands, puts a lot of pressure on IT department and ICT department in particular. So you have to have an infrastructure which supports, these newer technologies. Like many of you would agree that books today are giving way to online content, because that is something which is more updated and which is more readily available for students who are spread across different regions. So you don't really have to be in a classroom to be able to understand what is being taught. So this is something which is bringing about a next wave of change, the online content. You have to have very resilient and scalable networks, because until unless you have a strong core, you will not be able to run, the real-time applications and the newer technologies, and you will not be able to do justice to that. So, you have to have networks which are readily available, which are available at all times to support these new technologies. And finally, we heard a lot about BYOD, bring your own device, but I think there is another concept called select your own device, because in order to, minimize pressure on ICT, there is a new concept that is coming in, which is SYOD, or select your own device, wherein you approve certain brands to be used by students who could use that for, accessing different content and applications. So you have to have an infrastructure and you have to have a setup which support multitude of devices, across various platforms. So this is something I think most of you will have a concurrence on. These are some of the key focus areas that we feel are kind of priority for education vertical. It is important that we create a next generation learning experience. We talked about, digital boards, we talked about video, we talked about, making the entire learning experience, the entire online and distance learning experience more engaging. So how we can do that, how we can actually bring in technology to, deliver on that, that is something that we'll see. Also, India is a very, very big market when it comes to, online and distance learning. And while it has, economic sense because it brings down costs, it also kind of, enables the institute to reach out to many more students than before. We also have to be cognizant of the fact that, it should not come at the expense of quality. So while we, deliver online and distance learning programs, at no point should the engagement levels or the, collaboration levels of the students should come down. So this is something that we should keep in mind while we promote online education. Mobile learning, as you all know, is coming up in a big way, and so is campus safety and student care, because this is something which is of paramount importance to most parents, all parents rather, and the faculty members. That in case there is an untoward incident in the campus, or if there is a problem or an emergency, there should be ways and mechanisms which can actually proactively reach out to the parents or students and alert them about this about a problem and ensure their safety. And at the same time, there are events like announcement of results, which see a big surge in traffic, which see a big surge in the requests for knowing the results and stuff like that. So how we can actually have solutions around that to be able to make that more user-friendly and more student-friendly. And it is also important that while we talk about all these newer technologies, it is important that we allow you a model which can help you ride this next wave of change at your own pace. Because we don't really want to, thrust all this technology and, then see probably 6 months down the line or 1 year down the line how your business is doing, how students are adopting to these technologies. So this is something which is always changing. And there should be a model which allows you to adopt these technologies at your own pace and at your own, comfort. So that is where we talk about cloud, and that is where we talk about, pay-as-you-go kind of a model for these technologies. So collaboration, for different vendors mean different things. For many it is, more like, bringing all these applications into one single desktop. To some it is, about mobile computing. For us at Avaya, it is all about people. So it is about people, bringing them together from different regions, from different networks, using different devices onto one single, common purpose to deliver results. So we actually design and, build our solutions in a way that actually work towards, getting better results. So that is all about collaboration for Avaya, and rest all is like periphery. So to that effect, what we've done is we have brought about a new architecture, because, you would have seen all these applications like, voice, video, social media, email. All these applications have been around for ages, and there is nothing new about that. So this is something which has been traditionally used by, all students, faculty members, everyone. But what is so different now is that with a new architecture in place, we have pulled all these applications together under one common umbrella. So now all these applications, erstwhile, working in silos, are now connected by a common thread where they talk to each other intelligently, exchange information. And what we do is we deliver these services to the users or to the students or to the faculty members in one unified experience. So it doesn't really matter where they are sitting. There could be a case where, a professor is sitting in his home in London and delivering a lecture in India. So, and there are multitude of devices that we support, which is perfectly in line with a bring your own device concept that we, all learned about today. So, having these applications work together is something which is unique and which is something, which adds value. So, so what we've done is we have taken this architecture to more education-specific solutions. So I'm not going to talk about each and every one of these, but just to pick on few, for example, contact center for student care. So contact center, all this while, has only been used mostly for customer care across verticals, across industries. So that is mostly for, giving better service to your customers. But what if you can use that for, generating more revenue? More revenue for an institute. You can probably have, automated voice announcements, which are played out to, your prospective students. You can have email alerts sent out to them. You can have SMSs sent out to them, informing them about the new programs that the institute is going to, incorporate. You can also have social media integration, which we are going to talk about in the coming slides. And also, the next generation conferencing. So again, conferencing is something which has always, been a buzzword. This is something which has always been a big ROI thing. But what we have discovered is that many people, invest in things like video conferencing and they don't use it fully. And one of the fundamental reasons for a very low adoption of video in India is that it is not user-friendly. And it is confined mostly to boardrooms or to the conference rooms. So our endeavor all this while has been to, bring this video out of the boardrooms to the personal workspace of the, of the user. So now everybody is, talking about virtual room. And effectively, boardrooms and meeting rooms is giving way to virtual room. So what it does is, for example, if you have an institute of like, let's say 1,000 students, each one of them will have their own virtual rooms. Each one of them will have their own video room, wherein they can actually talk to anybody across the world, irrespective of, whether they are on the same campus network or whether they're coming from internet, whether they're using Polycom, Tandberg, any device, it doesn't really matter. So it is totally, vendor agnostic, device agnostic, and network agnostic. And that gives you a lot of power because, like I said, one of the best use cases for this is to be able to, get guest lecturers or professors from all across the globe to deliver lectures to students, sitting in India or other locations. We can also share content and do annotations and do co-browsing. So what it means is that you can, share a PowerPoint presentation with people and do a Q&A and, do whiteboarding and stuff on that. You can also record the session and play it back for, later replays. You can archive them. There is also a streaming feature which can allow you to, scale that up to thousands of students at any given time. So there is absolutely no limit as to, what video conferencing can do. And the way it is different is that it has, that it has actually increased the adoption rate of video in India. So just because it is more user-friendly and it is, available on a lot of other devices. So this is something that we promote, and there is a demo program that we have in which what you can do is you can use it for a month and see for yourself how it works for your organization. And if you think it is really worthy of it, you can actually go and we can get into detailed discussions on that. And it again supports BYOD, which is a must for any collaboration solution today. I remember Purnima ma'am talking about how we should actually look forward while we stay in present, and we should have technologies which can which we can experiment to make the entire learning experience more engaging. One of the biggest drawbacks that people tell about distance learning is that while they are sitting in a remote location, they don't really have that same advantage as the classroom students because they are not physically present there. So in order to bridge that gap, what we have done is we have come with a 3D virtual room kind of a solution in which you can simulate the entire campus of yours or a training center of yours exactly as it is in the real world. It's an online, on-demand, very interactive collaboration platform wherein students can create their own avatars. They can personalize their appearances, they can personalize their wardrobe and stuff like that. And they can just walk into the training room just like they would, if they were physically present there. So there is absolutely no difference there. You can, form small groups, talk to each other. There is a voice fading feature in which if you, walk towards someone, your volume goes up, and if you step back, the volume goes down. So it gives you a very near real world kind of, feeling, wherein people can, share presentation, small groups, have a breakout session, things like that. So it makes the entire experience much more engaging, and people are more alert. And even the lecturer is getting to know that who all are attentive in the classroom. So this is something that can be used effectively for distance learning. Uh, we talked about, about the student care and services in which we have certain custom-made apps which can allow students to see, keep a tab on, the faculty and the staff availability. So there's a lot of time that gets wasted, if the lecture gets rescheduled or, gets cancelled, a lot of travel time is wasted. So in order to avoid that, we can have certain smart applications which can, send out alerts to students in case, there is a change in schedule. You can also offer notifications for results, and you can also send out alerts for any emergency kind of a scenario, and that spans across multiple channels, be it voice, SMS, email, anything. So this is something which is purely customizable there. So this is something which we all agree is a reality in life today. We can't really deny the impact of social media. And this is a very, very powerful tool because today people don't really talk to each other, but they talk to each other through social media. So even if I have a grievance or a problem or a dissatisfaction, I would rather put that on social media instead of going to the authorities and telling them about it. So that is one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is how it can actually help you generate more business for your institute. For example, if I as a student want to pursue a 2-year program in management from Delhi, NCR, and I just tweet about it. So what if, we have a mechanism which can actually scan through the social media, filters out the content based on the certain keywords that are relevant to your business, and, offer that tweet or a Facebook post or a LinkedIn post to your contact center or to your, institute, and make it more relevant so that you can do, further actions on it. You can reach proactively to all those students and inform them about the, programs that you offer. So again, apart from the, student care and the satisfaction level, you can also use this for increasing more revenues, and this is something which we do very well. Sorry. We talked about making this journey much more smoother. So I understand that not everybody is ready to invest heavily in technology without really knowing the tangible benefits of it. So it may happen that 6 months down the line you may not have a requirement of a particular technology and you want to move on to something else, or probably you just want to contract or expand as per your business. So what we do is we have a cloud offering for all the applications that we talked about, which can, as I said, allow you to grow at your own pace. So when I say grow, it doesn't really mean only in numbers or only in numbers in the number of students or or the teachers. It also means growing from the capability standpoint. So today, if you're using only voice or probably using only wireless, you can also use that for adding newer capabilities like social media, video, and all those things as you grow. So this is something which makes that journey a lot more smoother. So, as I said, all these solutions do have an impact on student retention because you give them a lot of flexibility in the way they want to communicate and, complete the courses. It also enables a very smooth relationship between the administration and the students because they know, when the staff is available, how their queries are going to be resolved through, the contact center solutions. And apart from the economics of, using a tool like Web.Alive or a video, which makes much more economic sense, you also have a lot of measures to provide for campus safety. So all these things combined brings down the total cost of ownership, increase the student satisfaction levels, and generate more awareness about the situations. These are some of the education institutes that rely on us for their voice, data networking, and video needs. Many of them are in India, and many of them are in US and other countries, and they, in some way or the other, utilize Avaya for their technology needs. So just to summarize, we talked about the trends. We talked about what are the needs of the education and the focus areas of education today. So there are a lot of things that we can help you do with, for example, build a very solid core of wireless and data networking, which can allow that concept of BYOD to flourish. On top of it, you can have applications like unified communication and collaboration, virtual rooms, and collaborative sharing and learning. And on top of it, you have a model, a cloud-based model, which allows you to use that as per your convenience and as per your growth plans. So with that, I'll conclude my presentation, and I would like to thank you all for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul, for making it in time and very succinct.